Hello, welcome to Football Overload Podcast. My name's Ashton Barboric. This is our first podcast. You either heard about us from our website, NFLoverload.com, or you just ran across our YouTube channel. Either way, you got to check out the website. It's pretty cool. We have about 3 writers right now. We write columns daily, just about news, rankings, opinionated stuff that as fans you can comment on. And we know you'd like to read. So, like I said, this is our first podcast, so go a little easy on me. Yeah, let's just jump into it. Earlier this week, Coach Gary Kubiak of the Texans, he said that Brian Cushing, he looks ready to play. Last season, the Texans, after Cushing's injury, they were undefeated at one point, but then they just started declining. Their offense looked bad. They need another receiver, which they addressed in the draft in the first round, but their offense and defense, even though it was just Brian Cushing on the defense, it affected both sides of the ball, I think, mentally, which took down the motivation of the team, and that just led to their decline last year. But he said Cushing looks healthy. The Texans, they should look to win the division again, but the Colts, they can slip up there to the first spot. You never know with them adding a couple receivers and some defensive guys like Bjorn Warner. But, with Cushing back, it's really going to help the Texans defense, and he's really the leader of that defense. And even if he gets hurt again, I do think that the addition of Ed Reed will help the leadership role. So I think if them two are both healthy, the sky's the limit for this team. But the offense still kind of worries me. But look for them to win the AFC South again this year. Oh man, he had a Cam Newton last year. He sophomore slump. Honestly, I did not think he would slump just after the impressive season he had his rookie year, but there was something about him. He didn't. I don't think he played. I think he tried to play like every play was a game-winning touchdown. I don't think he was calm enough in the pocket, and I just think that led to a lot of mistakes by Cam. And the Panthers, last year, after the Saints kind of slipped down after their whole mishap on the paying players, I really did think the Panthers would slide up. I didn't see the Falcons doing as good as they would, but I actually predicted the Panthers to win the division last year, which was kind of a stretch at the time. But of course, I didn't see the Falcons having the season they would. But I don't think the Panthers are going to be as good. I really do. Especially with the addition of Tampa Bay's secondary, I think Cam Newton's he's going to stay. He's not going to rise above last season's stats, and I think that the Panthers will finish last in their division. Just because, you got a Saints team that is coming back. They got their head coach back. And then the Falcons they're running off last season. They wanted to make it to the championship game. They wanted a Super Bowl. And I just don't see them. And Tampa Bay's got possibly the best secondary in the league. An up-and-coming offense. One of the best rushing games in the league. And I just don't see it for the Panthers. I just can't. I can't see them winning too many games. I take that back. I can't see them winning too many division games. Outside of that, I think it's possible, but it's just the NFC's good, and it's gonna take a lot for the Panthers to make a wild card, and I don't see it for a couple more years possibly. They need to make a couple more runs in the draft and free agency, but Panthers fans don't look for a good season. That's all I'm saying. Oh, everybody loves Faith Hill, and it's gonna be sad to see her go on Sunday night football because really, I'm not gonna say that's why I watch Sunday night football, but I would want to kill myself if I miss the first part of Sunday night football just because I don't know, it gets me pumped up for the games, but also Faith Hill is just extremely attractive, and she can sing too. But I know it's not big news, but it is kind of sad to see her go. She's been doing it for a long time, but her replacement, Carrie Underwood, that's they did a good thing there by getting her as the replacement, and I like it. I like the addition of her. Um, I love Carrie Underwood's voice. She's beautiful, and I don't know, not big news, but everybody should know about it. And I think she'll do good. She'll be a good, she'll fill in for Faith Hill pretty good. Back to the Texans. Their first round pick was wide receiver out of Clemson University, DeAndre Hopkins. I watched a lot of tape when I was scouting for the draft, and DeAndre Hopkins, he was my favorite wide receiver in the draft. A lot of people like Tavon Austin. I don't like his size, and I don't see him. I see him excelling in the NFL, especially with the team he went to in the Rams. But I don't think career-wise he will do as good as DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins already goes into a team with Andre Johnson, Matt Schaub, Arian Foster. So it's not like the Rams where Tavon Austin, he's the number one guy right there. Steven Jackson's getting a little old. The run game's still good, but you can't really just kind of take those teams for granted and use your number one receiver and then have DeAndre Hopkins as the second one as a disguise. The Rams, they're not. There's going to be a lot of double coverage on Tavon Austin, to whereas DeAndre Hopkins, there's not going to be. You got Andre Johnson, who a season before last, he had that fall down injury to his knee, and then last year nobody really saw it coming, but he just had a phenomenal year, and really he's the only receiver that really did anything on the Texans. That's why they went out and got DeAndre Hopkins first round. So I do think I see DeAndre Hopkins being the best receiver statistic-wise and just mentally the best receiver next or out of this rookie class. I think he'll finish with, I don't want to say 1,000 yards, but I think he'll finish with at least 800 yards and about 6 or 7 touchdowns. Statistically, I think he'll be the best rookie wide receiver. And for fantasy owners, I mean, I'm not taking him early. I mean, I'm taking him close to the later rounds, but I'd love DeAndre Hopkins on my team because I think it's going to take a lot of Andre Johnson's going to take a lot of pressure off of him, open him up a little bit for some good passes and catches. But yeah, I think he's the best wide receiver in the game, and sorry, not the game, in the rookie class. I don't know why I said that. I think he'll excel this year in that offense. Oh Lord, we got the Jets. Can't go. No NFL media person can go 5 seconds without talking about the Jets. It's just a mistake. The whole team is a mistake. And I don't mean to bash players, coaches, but it's just, I don't get it. Now, their draft, I liked taking D. Milliner to fill the void of Darrelle Revis. While I do think Xavier Rhodes is the better corner out of this draft, I think that they could have taken a better player, possibly like a Jarvis Jones. I wanted them to get an outside linebacker, and I thought they could have got him or Alec Ogletree even, and then Sheldon Richardson with their second pick in the first round. I like Sheldon Richardson. I had him going a little higher than that, honestly, to the Panthers, but with the two players like Sharif Floyd and Star Lutululi there, I wouldn't have taken Sheldon. I mean, I don't have the inside sources and the scouting personnel that they do. So I mean, I'm sure they saw something that I didn't. But I like those two players in the long run better. And overall, their first round pick, I liked them. I think they fill some voids, but I think they could have done better. Now, Geno Smith, I like what they're doing. I like how they're saying, you know what, it's you and Sanchez, go at it to win the starting job. Everybody knows Geno Smith is going to come out the starter by the start of the season, but I think it's good that they're making him compete, you know. I know he knows in his mind, I'm going to be the starter. Sanchez has been here for years. He hasn't really produced, but I think mentally it's good for him to get him to compete a little bit more. And I like when teams do that, make other teams compete. And the Jets, they'll have another top 10 pick. I think they killed their defense by trading Darrelle Revis. It was a mistake. Pay the guy your money. He's best defensive player in the league. He's the best cornerback to come along since Deion Sanders. You can't trade for a first and a third round pick. That's a mistake. The management there really screwed up, and I think they'll struggle this season. Running back was not taken in the first round for the first time in 50 years since the modern draft was started. But when the second day of the draft started up, running backs just started going off the board. And one we saw that a lot of people predicted to go late first round or early second was Eddie Lacy, and he fell to the Green Bay Packers late second round, which a lot of people saw as a steal for them. But a running back that there was actually 3 running backs that went ahead of Lacy, and one that went a couple picks before him was Monte Ball out of Wisconsin to the Denver Broncos. Love this pick. I think he's going to have over 1,000 yards rushing, at least 8 touchdowns. He'll be the starter. I don't even know if Denver's going to keep Willis McGahee around. No, Sean's not a starter. He's a backup. Ball's going to impress. He's got the size, the speed, everything to be a starter in the NFL, and I love Denver with this pick. Now, Denver did speak out this week on why they passed on Lacy. It was his toe fusion surgery that did it for him. They saw him as a workhorse back at Alabama, and he played his whole career. He played a lot, and a lot. And they didn't like that. They thought he was a workhorse back. They didn't like the miles put on him. And they thought Ball overall was a better pick for them. That's why they passed on Lacy. But in my mind, is Ball really any less of a workhorse back than Eddie Lacy? Because, you look at Ball's statistics and how much he ran the ball, really, in Wisconsin. And, I think he's got more miles on him than Eddie Lacy. Maybe not the hit-wise because of the conference. I think Lacy was challenged a little bit more than Ball. But I think both will exceed in the NFL. And I think Ball will have a little better career starting off just because Lacy is on a team, the Green Bay Packers, that have Aaron Rodgers plus later in the 4th round they drafted Jonathan Franklin, who you never know could actually start over him, but I think they'll share carries, which will lower the statistics for Lacy very much. And you got to think it's Aaron Rodgers' offense, so they're not going to be running as much as Denver will. No disrespect to Peyton Manning, but Denver's a more balanced team rather than the Packers. So I do think Monte Ball will have a better rookie year, and honestly, I think he'll have a better career. But great pick for both, and I do think if both running backs would have been there when the Packers were picking, Ball would have been their choice. Same reason, but you can't pass on Eddie Lacy when he falls that late. You got to take a chance on him. That was a big need for them. Great pick by both teams. And we got the Oakland Raiders. Oh, this was the shock of the draft for me when watching with my friends. I thought when they traded down, I really wanted them to take Sharif Floyd, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're gonna get D Milliner when he falls. He got taken. Sharif Floyd's there. I thought, oh, perfect fit. Even if they don't take Sharif, it's gonna be Starr or Sheldon, or it's gonna be one of the defensive tackles that they needed. No, they shocked us. They got DJ Houston. And I just don't like. I like the kid, but I don't. I know a lot about cornerbacks, and I just don't like. I don't like the conference the kid played in. I don't like the injury he sustained while in college. I think that's really going to affect him in the NFL. And while he will be the starter, and he's impressing in mini camps, I don't like him. I don't like it as a high first round pick. I think they could have even traded down again and got a better pick. You got to take Xavier. You have Xavier Rose, Trufant. I even like better than him. I just don't like it. I don't like the pick. And the Raiders, just overall, I think their only pick that I really liked was quarterback Tyler Wilson from Arkansas. They got him late fourth round, I believe, and I think it's going to be great to have him and Matt Flynn to challenge each other. It might not be the first time that Flynn gets beat out by another Wilson. But I don't think Wilson will start at the beginning of the season. Give him about, not even mid-season. I think it's going to be about 4 or 5 games until Flynn just kind of really shows he's a backup quarterback. He can come in and win you a game, but don't rely on him the whole season. Tyler Wilson's a tough quarterback. He's got a strong arm, accurate, and he's a smart kid. I liked what he did at Arkansas last year. For him, with Arkansas, it was just a disaster. I don't blame him for his kind of poor statistics and poor team record. I blame that on team overall, coaching, all that. But I like their drafting him. I think he's the quarterback of the future for the Oakland Raiders, and I think that'll help them start rebuilding. But I did not like their first round pick. I did not like it. Look for the Raiders to struggle again, possibly finish last. That division, I think it's going to be Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders. As of now, never know. The Chargers could jump above the Chiefs, but I like what the Chiefs did in the draft. I like their team right now. Last year they just didn't have a quarterback. They didn't have motivation. But look for the Raiders to not do good again. That's actually gonna end. That's all I got for today. Thanks for listening. Once again, visit the website. Also, I'd like to do a segment at the end where I answer email questions or discussions, or just basically read your emails. Kind of get you all interacted with it, but can't do that without emails. So if you have an email, send it to abarboric@ymail.com. I have it. It's up on the screen if you're looking. That's abarboric@ymail.com. Send them in. I'll try to answer as many as I can. Probably it's going to start off with 1 or 2, so I'll be able to answer them all. So make sure you visit the website. Come back for next week's podcast every Wednesday. And thanks for listening. It's Football Overload Podcast. Ashmar Boric. See ya.